Oh boy. Shall we take another look at a brightside video? What if sea creatures could fly suddenly? Oh, please, brightside. Oh, please tell me what would happen if sea creatures could suddenly fly, but I guess not breathe air, so wouldn't they just die?
Okay,
I love some brightside
this is
theories.
how it starts. You're woken up by a strange sound. Not the alarm, though. It's 5 a.m. After a few seconds, you realize the strange sound is a knock on the window. But you live on the 12th floor. Who or what could be knocking? Window cleaners? You live in an ordinary apartment building, not a skyscraper with offices. The knocking is getting stronger.
A 12-floor apartment building? That's a very tall apartment building. 12 stories.
You muster up that there are flying or floating small fish outside your window. Thousands of them.
Okay.
A shoal of sardines rising directly to the sky. A few knock on your window as they pass. There are so many sardines, you can't see what's going on outside. But as the last fish...
Dude, that was hypnotic. Like, if you were high or tripping or something, forget the audio, just watch this. Just stare. This would be a cool background. I want this to be like my background on my computer.
Large and small fish fly between the houses.
Why is that brittle star? Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. All right. First of all, squid the size of the house. Sure, whatever. Why is this brittle star the size of that entire floor of the house? Why is this mandarin goby, which is like this big? The scales, yeah, a Titan triggerfish that barely fits in your garage. Here, look behind my camera. This Titan triggerfish barely fits in your garage. That's a big-ass triggerfish.
Octopuses cut through the air with
Ah,
their
yes.
tentacles into
Seahorse, the sizes of clouds.
a neighbor waves to you. He holds a fishing rod from the window and waits for the fish to bite.
That would be something that a lot of people would do if they were flying fish. They would just go out on their balcony and throw out the fishing rod.
Sea creatures of the earth have learned to fly, leaving the ocean and...
That's not a sea creature. That's not a sea creature either. Those are freshwater fish. That is a big jellyfish and a big hermit crab.
Sea turtles crawl on the ground. They shiver, flap their fins, and rise into the air.
What?
A flock of shrimp flies past you. Has the ocean lost its gravity? What happened to all the water? You live in a port town close to the sea, so
Sure.
you decide to go to the coast. You reach the shore and see the water is calm. Gravity seems to be intact, but the sea creatures continue to take to the air. 6 months
Is that a muskie? Is this like a pike family fish in the ocean in a port town?
6 months later, people gradually get used to the new natural phenomenon.
Trout.
Fish occupy most of the sky. Some sea creatures penetrate the middle layers of the atmosphere. Smaller birds have almost disappeared.
What are they eating? How are they breathing? How does their interactions work? How do people get anywhere without planes fucking obliterating them in the engine?
Since the presence of predatory fish in the sky.
Wait, predatory fish killed off hummingbird? That's what finally did it? Hummingbirds have been endangered for a while, and literal flying fish is finally what does it.
Birds of prey that hunt fish gained weight.
Okay.
They've eaten so much that they can't fly anymore. Plump gulls, albatrosses, pelicans, and eagles can hardly walk and barely support themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they might be smart enough to not overeat to the point where they can't fly, because I think that would totally destroy it. It is crazy that a whale can fly, but a bird can't.
The ocean becomes lifeless. The number of bacteria, microbes, and various nutrients in the water move to the air. People get sick more often, and in some areas, it becomes difficult to breathe. When it rains, millions of shrimp and small fish fall to the ground along with the water.
Just sounds like free dinner.
Many predatory mammals that have been feeding on fish begin to
Does
starve.
that wolf have a whale in its mouth? That wolf has a whole ass whale in its mouth. Also, why is there a cobra here? What does that have to do with anything? This is not a sea creature and it shouldn't be. Why is there a cobra in a residential neighborhood? And why does this wolf have a map?
Scientists research the flying creatures and find that they somehow change the structure of their lungs. But
don't
how
have
fish
lungs.
got the ability to fly is still unknown. It seems nature...
They changed the structure of the lungs that they don't have? Fish don't have lungs. I guess lungfish have lungs, but not sea creatures. So they changed a structure of something that they don't have. And again, they all did it simultaneously somehow.
Just decided to push people out of their usual environment. Fishermen build
Imagine walking down the road and getting bitch slapped by a triggerfish. Just
balloons
flies
to
past
fish
you.
in the sky.
Oh my god.
Some athletes throw a lasso at flying whales and ride them like huge horses.
No one would
Though
do that.
The landing can be difficult. Creatures that previously swam only in the very depths of the ocean settle at high altitudes.
That doesn't make sense.
Researchers discover new, previously unknown fish species. From the ocean depths, a giant octopus rose into the air. Many call it the Kraken. This monster has found a new home right on top of Mount Everest. Now everyone
A kraken the size of Mount Everest came out of the ocean and now lives on Mount Everest. Perfect. I love it. This seems
is
realistic.
afraid to climb this mountain. In some areas, sharks descend to the ground for food. In these places, people are afraid to go out.
Sharks have been known to
Fishing
love
companies buy
BLTs.
huge Boeings and attach nets to it to catch fish in the air.
Dude, seining with a Boeing is so funny. Using a Boeing airplane to seine with a net through the air to catch fish. I love it.
But flights are not
This would make my job very hard. Would I just like run around with a butterfly net and like jump and try and catch stuff? Yeah, so not only did they change the structure of an organ they didn't have, they can suddenly breathe air. Also, they don't need to be wet. Oh yeah, and they can also live in space. And all of the animals that had to deal with the deep pressure. His theory made the least sense because they would be going from the deepest pressure to the lowest pressure. So the highest pressure to the lowest by going from deep sea to the highest in the air. I.e., why would it make sense that the super high pressure fish would go to the low pressure? That's like the most drastic change. They would just die. They would just turn into jello.
Authorities impose curfews in many cities.
Why?
People climb to the roofs
What does a curfew have to do with anything? Are the fish only out at night?
and watch an
Flying
incredible
fish?
sight at night. Squid, frightened by the new conditions, release ink into the air. When a lot of squids do this, the ink blots out the light from the sun.
What?
Man-
No. Okay, ink is not a gas. Ink does not just float in the air. If a squid inked itself in the air, it would just plop down like bird shit. It would not black out the sun.
As if traffic jams appear on the roads because electric eels fly through the streets and shock traffic lights.
Right, as
Well,
they would.
All over the world, people with a strange physical disability show up in hospitals. Weird holes form under people's ears. Doctors don't understand what they're dealing with.
What?
But then, one of the patients jumps into a lake,
Oh my
and
god.
it turns out he can breathe underwater.
Okay.
All people grow gills. At first, most people refuse to go underwater. But their changed lungs force them to do so, or spend the rest of their lives in a gas mask. Some people are happy to go under the water and start a new life. The human body adapts to the cold temperatures and high pressure.
Ah, yeah, of course
There
it
is
does.
a lot of work ahead to create cities and
You can't just hammer nail. You can't just build things underwater. How did this get here? This makes no sense.
infrastructure. There is more space in the water than on land. 1 year later,
No, there's not.
humanity begins to fully migrate to the oceans. But instead of a new life, they find trash, a lot of garbage.
Ah,
Billions of tons of plastic are floating in the water.
right.
Global plastic recycling starts in all waters. Every day, people
How's the
take
guy in the plane flying the plane? Is he wearing a gas mask? I thought they needed to breathe water now.
out tons of trash from the ocean. The water is getting cleaner. Trash dumps appear on land.
Oh my god. Is it gonna
5
switch
years
again?
later. But then all the fish start to fall into the seas and oceans.
Okay.
Everything returns to the usual way of life.
Yep.
People lose their gills,
Yep.
and now they're back on land.
So this was all a lesson in plastic pollution, where instant evolution takes place across entire generations of species, so that we switch roles with fish, go, holy shit, the ocean sucks, clean it, and then we go back. And probably humans are stupid enough that they would not learn anything. We would go through this entire situation, then end up back on land as land creatures again and be like, yeah, let's just keep polluting.
Sea creatures live in clean water once more.
Ah, yes. The dying salmon, very much known to be in the oceans, and rainbow trout.
We understand how to live in a world of garbage and how we should care about our planet.
I feel like I'm not allowed to be mad because the end message is to not pollute the ocean, but like, did we really need to get there in this way?